The Super Mario Bros. Series is one of the most monumental franchises in all of gaming. It brought forth a plumpy mustachioed plumber that has become known all over the world, and who at one point was even more widely recognized than Disney's own Mickey Mouse. Crazy sauce! Throughout the decades Mario's been around, he has gone on to make an appearance in over 250 games, ranging from kart racing to pill-popping puzzlers. There's no hiding from this guy, he's seriously everywhere. But anyways, today we are going to walk down memory lane and recount the history of the Super Mario Bros. Series as a way to commemorate the 30th anniversary of the franchise.
Although it wasn't his first appearance, the overalls wearing hero didn't have his big break until the revered Super Mario Bros. Dropped onto the market in 1985 for the Famicom, or the NES as it's known outside of Japan.
Hey, wait a second, what are you doing? This is my gig, man.
What do you expect from a guy who's everywhere?
Haedox, baby. We already used that one.
What do you expect from someone who hates Splatoon?
Same deal.
Well, but I guess that's that. There's really no more memes to make fun of.
But I heard you hate Super Mario Maker.
Okay, let's go with that one then. That will be the next hot and spicy meme. Popularizing the side-scrolling platforming genre, Super Mario Bros. Went on to become one of the best-selling video games of all time, selling over 40 million copies. Heck, it even helped bring an end to the video game crash of 1983.
The tale of Mario trampling through the Mushroom Kingdom to save Princess Peach, or Princess Toadstool as she was known at the time, from the evil turtle man known as Bowser, would become a staple for many sequels to come, with Super Mario Bros. Selling like banana pancakes.
Wait, but banana pancakes are literal garbage.
Haedox, please shut up! I'm trying to work here, man. Nintendo didn't waste any time dishing out a sequel in 1986 conveniently called Super Mario Bros. 2. This is where the naming gets tricky, as it would later be known outside of Japan as Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels. Although it was very similar in style to the first game, the Lost Levels cranked the difficulty into overdrive, bringing with it tough-as-nails precision platforming with poison mushrooms, warp pipes that take you back earlier in the game, and gusts of wind to make you rip your hair out. It was so stinking tough that Nintendo decided to not bring it overseas to America initially.
It wasn't until 7 years later in 1983 when America got their hands on the Lost Levels, as it was included in the Super Mario All-Stars collection for the Super Nintendo. At the time though, Nintendo instead decided to substitute it with the black sheep of the franchise, Super Mario Bros. 2 in 1988.
Told you the name was confusing. The game that is widely referred to today as Super Mario Bros. 2 turned out to be a rebranding of the Japan-only NES game Doki Doki Panic. With some tinkering and swapping out the cast of 4 playable characters with Mario, Luigi, Toad, and Princess Toadstool, we got a Mario game that didn't play like a Mario game. Familiar baddies were gone, Bowser was nowhere to be found, there was no Fire Mario, and most importantly, you needed to pick up enemies or throw objects at them to defeat them.
It was like everything we learned while playing Super Mario Bros. Was a lie. Except the fact that this is pretty much common knowledge nowadays, but just imagine being a wee little babe and hearing this for the first time. Your mind probably would have been blown.
In the same month that America got Super Mario Bros. 2, Japan was already devouring the next installment, Super Mario Bros. 3, which debuted in Japan in 1988 on the NES. Nintendo went back to Super Mario's roots with this latest installment, but made it bigger and better than ever before. Dozens of new enemies were introduced, there were multiple new ways to power up Mario, and levels became more dynamic and complex, which was in part due to the fact that Mario can now fly as a raccoon. Yes, I know, it doesn't make sense. Heralded as one of the best 2D Mario games out there, Mario Bros. 3 was the franchise's NES swan song.
Up until 1989, Super Mario was strictly a home console franchise, but that all changed once the iconic Game Boy surfaced. As a Game Boy launch title, Super Mario Land made its triumphant entrance, and fans could finally take their platforming adventures on the go. Interestingly enough, this turned out to be the first Mario game made without the help of the Plumber's creator Shigeru Miyamoto. Mario Land was yet another wacky adventure for this Italian fella, as this time around, Mario would be traveling to the mysterious Sarazaland and saving not Princess Peach, but the brown-haired beauty Princess Daisy from an evil spaceman.
See, this was the 90s, the times were crazy back then. I mean, it was like a different frontier out there, with Koopa Troopas exploding all around and shoot 'em up style stages appearing in a Mario game. Say what? 1 year later, in 1990, to usher in Nintendo's next big bad home console, the Super Nintendo, Super Mario World released as a launch title for the system. With more advanced hardware, Mario got a fresh coat of paint sporting spiffy new 16-bit graphics, a more vibrant soundtrack, new gameplay mechanics, and Mario's trusty dinosaur pal, Yoshi. Gosh, I simply adore that little fella. He doesn't even care that Mario smacks him upside the head and drops him into endless pits of love. Yeah, there's a lot of love down there.
Petition to change the name of the game to Super Yoshi World?
Petition granted, Captain.
Super Mario stayed dormant for several years after Super Mario World. Before, Nintendo was plopping these babies out like chicken eggs. There was a good reason for the wait though, as Nintendo was taking a risk and breathing new life into the franchise with Super Mario 64 for the Nintendo 64 in 1996. This monumental game turned out to be one of the most, if not the most, revolutionary games for the industry as a whole.
Mario 64 was a standout game for 3D game design, with its dynamic camera system and 360-degree analog control. Super Mario 64 was to 3D game design as Super Mario Bros. Was to 2D side-scrolling platformers. No longer was Mario restricted to moving just left and right. Instead, a new sense of freedom was introduced with its open world gameplay and multiple diverse missions.
And you know what they say, that's a lot of spaghetti! You know, if spaghetti was a synonym for—
Shut up! The large gap between succeeding installments continued from there, as it took another console generation for the next major game to debut, taking what made Super Mario 64 so great, while also adding a new watery spin to freshen things up. Nintendo brought forth the tropical-themed Super Mario Sunshine to the GameCube in 2002. But between you and me, I've never played it. Shh.
It didn't break a ton of new ground outside of the versatile water pump known as Flood that Mario chugged around to douse enemies with or hover around. Still, Sunshine remains today to be my favorite installment in the series. The level design was top-notch and it felt like the natural progression from 64. Not to mention, it was the first time Yoshi was playable in a 3D setting.
Of course, Yoshi always makes the game better, especially now that he vomits fruit juice.
Yum.
After taking a break from the 2D side-scrolling Mario games for a number of years, Nintendo returned to the series' roots in a big way on the Nintendo DS with New Super Mario Bros. In 2006.
We had waited a whole 14 years for the next 2D side-scroller, the last one being Super Mario Land 2, and it seemed like our prayers had finally been answered.
Mixing together 3D objects and 2D backgrounds, New Super Mario Bros. Offered a 2.5D look and feel that was unlike any that previously came out. Without the rigid restrictions of tile-based sprites and backgrounds, the designers were able to explore new gameplay mechanics. New Super Mario Bros. Became a juggernaut, selling a whopping 30.79 million copies, catapulting it to the #1 spot on the chart of best-selling DS games.
Not only that, but it basically paved the way for the DS to become the handheld juggernaut it eventually became. If you had a DS, chances were you were buying it for this game right here. That or Nintendogs.
Fans clearly loved the return of classic Mario, and they would eventually get a handful of games just like it. But first, Nintendo had another surprise up their sleeves in 2007 for the Nintendo Wii, Super Mario Galaxy. Taking things to space, Galaxy opened up a whole new way to play Mario with its heavy focus on gravity-centric gameplay. Mario was no longer running on just flat planes, but was now circumventing spherical planetoids, which was an idea ripped straight from the Super Mario 128 tech demo shown at Nintendo Space World in the year 2000.
Mario Galaxy was an utter success, with it being the best-selling 3D entry in the Super Mario series, and it's even one of the highest-rated video games of all time. No wonder Nintendo wasted no time in spearheading a sequel to this highly acclaimed game. To fill in the gap while players waited on the edge of their seat for more adventures in space, Nintendo decided to recapture the magic of the utterly successful New Super Mario Bros. And release New Super Mario Bros. Wii in 2009.
Gameplay-wise, New Super Mario Bros. Wii didn't stray too far off from what its predecessor brought to the table, except for one important mechanic. It's the first Mario game since Mario Bros. To feature simultaneous multiplayer.
But Bradley, what about Mario Galaxy? That had multiplayer.
True, but that doesn't really count, since the second player was delegated more to a supportive role to assist Mario. Now in Mario Bros. Wii, 4 friends could come together as Mario, Luigi, Toad, and yet another Toad to enjoy a couch co-op experience that was quite revolutionary for the series. Lightning did indeed strike twice for Nintendo with New Super Mario Bros. Wii. Believe it or not, it's actually the fastest selling single platform game in all of history, with it selling over 10 million copies in around 8 weeks. Holy moly!
Just 1 year after New Super Mario Bros. Wii made its debut, Nintendo delivered a sequel to the groundbreaking Mario Galaxy game, conventionally called Super Mario Galaxy 2. This title didn't do too much in terms of breaking new ground, but as a good sequel does, it expanded on what Galaxy brought forth.
It delivered new dynamic environments, fresh power-ups like Rock Mario and Cloud Mario, and Mario's trusty dinosaur pal Yoshi made its triumphant return to a 3D Mario game, last seen in Sunshine. I just want to squeeze that little guy.
Every Nintendo system needs its big Mario game, and with the 3DS debuting in 2011, Nintendo had something exciting planned for that same year. Super Mario 3D Land! This was the first 3D Mario game on a portable system, and it was also the first Super Mario game to utilize stereoscopic 3D, making platforming a lot easier in 3D space.
The Big N did handle the gameplay a bit differently though when compared to past 3D Marios. It was more of a middle ground between the two extremes. It was a 3D Mario game that played like a 2D Mario game, with it combining the linear-based levels from Mario's side-scrolling adventures, while also allowing him to move freely in the third dimension.
Riding on the success of both New Super Mario Bros. Games, Nintendo plopped out a third installment on the 3DS in 2012 called New Super Mario Bros. 2.
You sure it's not 3?
Yes, I'm sure. I've done my research, Bradley, please.
Nintendo thought it would be fun to throw in a gimmick and center the game around collecting gold coins like your Wario on steroids. So every inch of the game is littered with these puppies.
Pipes spew coins, gold hoops cause enemies to turn into loads of cash, and the new Golden Flower power-up allows Mario to turn nearly anything he touches into coins.
The objective is to collect 1 million coins, but sweet gravy, don't do it. It's not worth it for what you get.
Wait, you actually got 1 million coins?
Yes, I seriously did.
You must not get out that much.
Yeah, I hear that a lot.
The new Super Mario Bros. Series was full steam ahead though, because just a few months later, New Super Mario Bros. U released as a launch title for the Nintendo Wii U.
This was the first time a Mario game could be enjoyed in the sharp clarity of HD! Upping the ante from New Super Mario Bros. Wii, Mario U now allowed 5-player multiplayer with the addition of the Wii U gamepad. Nintendo even went so far as to release a gigantic DLC pack in 2013 where you play as Luigi, called New Super Luigi U. They remade each and every level in the game, but made them shorter, tougher, and had you using Luigi's slippery controls.
It was like a whole nother adventure, which is why they released it as a standalone product at retail.
Now, to follow up Super Mario 3D Land, Nintendo released Super Mario 3D World on the Wii U in 2013. Although it played very similar to 3D Land, 3D World did turn out to be another milestone for the franchise. It introduced the 3D Mario games to the world of simultaneous multiplayer, allowing 4 friends to either help or hinder each other throughout the entirety of the game, similar to New Super Mario Bros. Wii.
Bradley doesn't have friends though, well, except for Steve.
Hey man, that's true.
Plus, Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Toad were all playable characters, each with their own unique controls and abilities, just like how they were in the NES classic Super Mario Bros. 2.
And hey doggy, don't forget that it was also the debut of the beloved cat suit, because it's perfect.
Bradley, please.
Sorry, couldn't resist. We have finally arrived at the here and now. After decades of the iconic plumber platforming his way through the Mushroom Kingdom, Subcon, and even space itself, fans have always dreamed of making their very own Mario stages. Nintendo knew that, and so they delivered to us Super Mario Maker, a game with endless possibilities and platforming goodness.
In the style of Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario World, and even New Super Mario Bros. U, players can craft their very own courses with a variety of well-known items from the Mario universe and then upload them online for others to enjoy. The levels you can create are only limited by your own imagination.
Yeah, but I hear Haedox over there doesn't have much of an imagination. Where Nintendo is going to take the Super Mario franchise next, after essentially giving us our own development tools, we have no clue.
Well, my uncle works for Nintendo, and he said,
whatever the Big N is going to bring to the table next is sure to be good fun. For 30 years now, this little Italian man who just loves his spaghetti has managed to capture our hearts with his platforming endeavors. And let's hope that 30 years from now, he'll still be going strong.
Why is the water falling in my eyes?
Oh boy. I'd like to take this time though to thank the man, the myth, the legend, Haedox for helping me recount the history of Super Mario.
No problemo, B-Dog. It was quite an emotional ride.
Oh no, here I go again.
Guys, I'm actually not crying. I gave up my soul long ago to be everywhere.
Anyways, if you liked what you saw, go ahead and tickle that subscribe button to be notified when I upload more delicious videos.
And you can head on over to my channel, youtube.com/channel/Haedox, where I make reviews and other groovy videos that I think you'll enjoy.
But we will talk to you all later in the next video, guys. Bye!